dreams, we all want things. But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rusty, and I keep the digital world spinning well, kind of. As a network and computer systems administrator, my job is to ensure everything's connected. Easier said than done. I spend more time deciphering error codes than a cryptologist with a crossword puzzle. My daily routine involves more reboots than a bad Hollywood franchise. You know you're in IT when your idea of a networking event involves a router and several Ethernet cables.
And my boss always says, Rusty, you're the only sysadmin who could make a server crash just by looking at it.
While working as a network and computer systems administrator, this is what my manager said about my work. Rusty, you're the only network admin who could turn a server room into a no-server room. I've heard some things in my time, but what my superior said about my work was truly memorable. You have such a magnetic personality. Every time you walk by, the hard drives fail. I had to hold back laughter when my administrator commented like this. If we had a penny for every time you crashed the network, we'd own the internet by now. In the realm of unbelievable feedback, my administrator said this about my work. You're the reason our firewall is more of a fire suggestion. It's like my superintendent woke up and decided to roast my work with this comment. You've got a great future in cybersecurity as a live example of what not to do. The other day, my boss had this to say about my work. You're like a living DOS attack on our servers. One of my colleagues dropped this gem on Monday. Your idea of data backup is printing out all the emails. Let me share what my team had to say about my work just yesterday. Calling you a network administrator is like calling a cat a dog. Optimistic, but fundamentally wrong. Guess what my team said about my work during one of our meetings? You've done the impossible, made the computers long for the days of dial-up. My employer's feedback was quite the surprise when he said, you're the only person who could find a way to make Wi-Fi slower than snail mail. I had to hold back laughter when my team commented on my work like this. Your troubleshooting method is like playing whack-a-mole with a blindfold on. Last week, my controller threw this curved ball. If incompetence were a computer virus, you'd be the pandemic. Picture this. My team's comment on my work went something like this. Your password policy is so weak, even a toddler could hack us. Here's a good one. My head of department's take on my work was, you're the kind of sysadmin who thinks sorry and is just a male sheep. Ever had your work summed up by your chief in a single sentence? Mine did. And it was, your network security is so lax, even the coffee machine refused to connect. Another day I went to work and my manager said, you handle server maintenance like a bull in a china shop with lots of breaks. Let me share what my director said about my work on Tuesday. If there was an award for crashing systems, you'd be our blue screen champion. You won't believe what my team said about my work recently. Your idea of optimizing the network is making sure the cables are color coordinated. Let me share what my director said about my work on Tuesday. We thought about getting AI assistance, but then we realized it couldn't possibly outdo your errors. Just when I thought I'd heard it all, my team said this about my work. The only thing you've successfully administered is a sense of constant fear in the IT department. I've heard some things in my time, but what my superior said about my work was truly memorable. You're the only sysadmin who could make an unplugged router crash. I had to hold back laughter when my team commented on my work like this. When you said you fixed the server, we didn't think you meant with duct tape. It's like my superintendent woke up and decided to roast my work with this comment. You've got a great knack for turning minor glitches into major catastrophes. You won't believe the hilarious thing my manager said. Your approach to network security is like leaving the doors open and hoping for the best. So, on a Friday, my team came up with this gem about my work. You're the reason why our antivirus software needs therapy. Last week, my controller threw this curved ball. Your idea of data encryption is writing passwords in invisible ink. So, there I was on a coffee break when one of my colleagues said to me, if network stability was a boat, you'd be the iceberg. So, My manager dropped this gem about my work recently. Every time you touch a computer, our tech support gets another gray hair. You'll get a kick out of what my manager said. You're like a search engine for problems. You always find them, but never solve them. My team's feedback on my work was quite the surprise.
You make our old dial-up modem look like a supercomputer.
My boss's perspective on my work took an unexpected turn when he said, "Your network configurations are more tangled than a bowl of spaghetti." Just this Wednesday, my colleagues said this about me. You're the living proof that user error can be an understatement. Picture this. My executives' comment on my work went something like this. If there was a contest for breaking the internet, you'd break the contest too. Just when I thought I'd heard it all, my manager said this about my work. You're so bad at this, even the computer's spell check gave up on you. My employer's feedback was quite the surprise when he said, "Your file management strategy is like a treasure hunt without the treasure." While working some extra hours, my team said this, "You're the only person who could make a digital clock run slow." One of my colleagues dropped this gem on Monday. "You've turned server downtime into an art form." Guess what my manager said during our meeting? "You handle software updates like a game of Russian roulette." Here's a good one. My team's take on my work was,
Your disaster recovery plan is just a box of tissues and a shrug.
ever had your work summed up by your chief in a single sentence? Mine did. And it was, in the world of networking, you're the equivalent of a dropped call. In the realm of unbelievable feedback, my administrator said this about my work. You're the only IT guy who could make a computer sigh in despair. Here's a good one. My head of department's take on my work was, if misconfiguring networks was an Olympic sport, you'd have a gold medal. You won't believe what my team said about my work recently. You are the human embodiment of a 404 error. Guess what my team said about my work during one of our meetings? Our backup system is just praying you don't touch anything. I had to hold back laughter when my administrator commented like this. You're like a wizard in the server room. Every move you make is a mystery, and nothing ever works. Another day I went to work and my manager said, your idea of upgrading the system is turning it off and on again. One day this is what my supervisor said about my work. You're the reason why our tech budget is spent on aspirin. Let me share what my team had to say about my work just yesterday. Even the AI has started asking for help when you're around. Picture this. My team's comment on my work went something like this. Your network diagrams look like abstract art. I couldn't believe it when my executive remarked this. If computer bugs were pets, you'd have a zoo. The other day, my boss had this to say about my work. You're the reason our website has more downtime than a sloth. So, my team leader came up with this singer about my work. Every time you fix something, our IT support hotline gets a panic attack. We went for a team building and my team leader dropped this gem. You're the personification of error, user not found. Here's a good one. My head of department's take on my work was, you're the only tech guy who could make the Wi-Fi signal run for cover. Let me share what my director said about my work on Tuesday. If there was a Hall of Fame for computer crashes, you'd be his first inductee. My team's feedback on my work was quite the surprise. You've got a talent for making inanimate objects feel frustration. Picture this. My team's comment on my work went something like this. Your password policies are weaker than a soap bubble. Last week, my controller threw this curved ball. Your idea of network security is a do not enter sign. Ever had your work summed up by your chief in a single sentence? Mine did. And it was, you're the only sysadmin who could get lost in a one-server room. My boss's perspective on my work took an unexpected turn when he said, if digital disasters were music, you'd be a one-man band. Well, folks, that's my time, and surprisingly, nothing crashed while I was up here. I hope you enjoyed our little journey through the world of IT, where turn it off and on again is a way of life. Remember, in the world of tech, there are no problems, only interesting challenges. I'll be heading back to my natural habitat, a dark server room filled with blinking lights and the smell of overheated computers. Keep your data safe and your servers running, or at least, running better than mine.
And as my manager always says, Rusty, the only network you should be managing is the one in your comedy act.
Thank you for being here and have a good day. See you on the next one.
And we all got dreams, we all want things. But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe
Hey, I may be the worst at my job, but at least I'm entertaining. Leave a comment down below and let me know what your manager is saying about your work. And if you didn't enjoy this show, well, I promise I'll try even harder to disappoint you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, stay employed and keep smiling.